Hi, I'm Pav.
And I'm Neil.
And welcome to the Top 10 of Anything podcast.
Let's start the countdown.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Right. It's 1987, and on the Tracy Ullman Show, there appears a short cartoon, crudely drawn, of a yellow family with overbites, something no one had ever seen before. Everything after that is now history. The phenomenon that is The Simpsons was born, and over 30 years later, Homer, Marge, Lisa, Bart and Maggie, and the inhabitants of Springfield are still going strong. Here's Neil with 10 Simpsons facts.
Thank you very much. So the characters on The Simpsons are all based on and named after the creator Matt Groening's family. So you could say the show is a real-life cartoon. The Simpsons' instantly recognizable theme song was composed by Danny Elfman in just 2 days in 1989.
Hi, everybody.
Creating an episode of The Simpsons takes a team of animators and writers around 6 months of hard work. The couch gag at the beginning of each episode is a technique used by the writers to make the show longer or shorter. In 1998, Time magazine named Bart Simpson one of the most influential people of the century.
Excellent.
The Simpsons holds the record for the longest running primetime animated TV series. It also holds the record for the most guest stars featured in a television series. That's a lot of famous voices there.
That's nice work, boys.
In the first 26 seasons of The Simpsons, Homer has said the most, accounting for 21% of the show's 1.3 million words, proving that he's just not the bumbling dad, but also quite the talker.
Idly hope.
Homer and Krusty were originally going to be the same person.
Somebody please think of the children.
And Elizabeth Taylor is the voice of Maggie Simpson. Maggie Simpson. There's a crossover.
My shorts.
And Fox owns the rights to The Simpsons until 2082. I'm a big Maggie Smith fan. Can I tell you, I wanted to slide her name in there. That's all it was.
Maggie Smith. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Top 10 of Anything podcast. And this is Top 10 Simpsons episodes. And there's only one person that could have joined us. It's Doug Simpson.
Hey. Hello, guys. How are you?
Hello,
welcome,
Doug.
welcome. I mean, look, we go back to our WTAF This Country days, don't we, Doug?
Oh yeah, it's been a long. It was well, we were in lockdown last time. I think I saw you on a screen. So
Yeah.
two and a bit years. So yeah,
Indeed.
Crazy how
getting the
time's
band back
flown.
together.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Well, the
that's what it feels like.
last time we saw you in person was at the last live show when I think you were absolutely arseholed, weren't you?
Oh
From what I
yeah,
can
yeah.
remember.
Well, I mean that was the problem. I'd been to the village where This Country's filmed. Went to the pub where Curtin gets bollocked, and I wanted to reenact something. And then obviously I had to get a bus to Siren Sister. So yeah, I don't know. I didn't think it was that obvious, but maybe not.
Looked like you were just enjoying yourself.
I
to
think
me.
it was, yeah. I think you was just enjoying yourself and the rosy red cheeks. It was just, it was a sight to behold. It was lovely.
I mean, it was a great night.
It was a great night.
It was.
Indeed
It was a great
Indeed
night.
it was. So, guys, how hard did you find putting your top 10 together? We'll start with you, Doug.
I mean, I think I sort of made peace with my choice about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So I've got my final choice, and most of them have been in my mind from the beginning. I've got an honourable list of another sort of 10 episodes that I've just written down to give me peace of mind, knowing that at least they were up there for consideration. And I think as we go through, you'll probably maybe come up with, you'll maybe say some of the ones that I'd thought of before and haven't made it. and I kind of hope you do, because then we can still talk about them.
Yes.
Because there's so many things that I've noticed in the ones that didn't make it in that I really want to speak about. So hopefully we can do each other a favor. But yeah, it's it's been my favorite show ever. I think it's the show that introduced me to comedy, and I think also you're probably the same. Most of these episodes, I've found them funny when they came out, in the 90s, and they're still giving me belly laughs now. And there's not many shows that can do that.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Neil, what about you?
Well, I use the technique of not even Googling, because I'm sure I've missed plenty of Simpsons episodes that I absolutely love. And I thought I'm going to go for the ones that I know that I really like off the top of my head and remember even the titles of. So I attempted to do that and worked out that I had more than 10, like I always do, and then narrowed it down. But it's not easy, is it? With 33 seasons to pick from, there's a lot of comedy and episodes to pick from. With just 10, I'm sure we could do another one of this. I really do.
Well, this is the first time this is episode 97, and this is the first time where on my list, I've got 12 on my list because I still haven't worked out what is in my top 10.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah, because it got to the point where I did the same as you, Neil. I knew that there were 5 or 6 that I knew that I definitely liked, and I'm sure that I haven't watched every episode, obviously, because that'd be impossible to do that. But I'm sure there are episodes that you guys are going to mention. I'm going to go, that should have been in my top 10.
Yeah, likewise.
Because every episode, and we were saying before we met up with you, Doug, on the Zoom, that I've started looking at some of the newer episodes. And as much as, okay, at their peak, it was the greatest show on TV, I think. But obviously, they've gone 33 seasons that are on Disney Plus now for us.
Yeah.
Even the newer episodes, you guaranteed at least 4 or 5 great laughs in 23, 24 minutes. Now, if a comedy can do that, that's a win. It doesn't matter whether they're irrelevant or whether they're not, or they're characters that have stayed the same age for 33 years or 35 years or whatever it is.
A lot of people I was told that we're doing the pod have said that it kind of dips down, but in the last 2 or 3 seasons is back on form as well. Like, not quite at its peak, but a really, really high standard. And it's like, how can that be possible? We look at the shows that we talked about, obviously This Country, Gavin and Stacey, Peep Show. Most of these series, there's 2 or 3, like the UK Office, 40 Towers. There's two, maybe 3 series for most of those.
Yeah,
and we're on 34, and it still works.
The mad thing is that the people that are writing on The Simpsons now probably weren't born when The Simpsons started.
Could well be.
They're bringing a whole new sort of aspect to all of that. So it's fascinating. I'm quite looking forward now, because this has made me start to watch The Simpsons again, and I'm going to start I'm up to series 2 anyway, so I'm going to start watching all of them again, because there's nothing better than watching 25 minutes of The Simpsons, even if it's just
it's a great filler as well, isn't it?
Oh,
if you're eating your tea and you just want something to watch, it's great for that, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's something really that the kids can watch, but you can get some of that comedy that is designed just for the adults. There's just certain bits in it.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely 1 or 2 in my list that were the funniest thing I'd ever seen when I was little, and they were the funniest ever thing I've seen now, because I understood for different reasons, because now I get the adult humor in it. Obviously, we'll talk about it later, but they parody some, many classic films that I hadn't seen. I hadn't seen The Shining when I was 9. I wasn't allowed for whatever reason. So spoiler alert. Shall we?
Yeah, The Shining.
The Shining. Sorry, don't want to get sued.
No, that's right. I've also got a little thing. I've got a little thing here. I've got my Wheel of Fortune here with character names from The Simpsons. All right. Every so often, I'm going to press that, and we've got to do the impersonation of that person. Okay.
Oh.
Just see who can do the best one for whatever we've got. So I've got a few of those. We'll do.
Please
that
tell me you
often.
haven't put a poo in there. I don't want to be any.
No,
that's all right.
No, I haven't put a poo in there. No, don't worry about
that's
that.
All right.
Don't worry about that. Right then, Doug, kick us off with your number 10.
Okay, so number 10. This is my favorite Christmas episode. It's series 11, episode 9, Grift of the Magi. So very briefly sum up the plot. Springfield Elementary gets closed down. It then gets reopened, but little do they know it's been reopened by an organisation that makes children's toys, and they're using the kids for market research and nothing else. They come up with a toy called Funzo, who turns out to be another toy killing machine, killing off the competition. I think there's so many good Christmas episodes. The first one is a work of art. The first ever episode. Sorry,
Yeah.
I really like Miracle on Evergreen Terrace, but I think this for me, it's just funnier. It's a really good story. I was going through the plot. I was like, they squeeze so much into it. Like you said, this must be one of the longer ones. Must be like 24 minutes or something. And
30 minutes, actually, this one.
is
30
it?
minutes.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Because I mean, there's a hell of a big long plot there. So it's loads and loads to unpack in it. You got a whole scam going on with Fat Tony building the ramps out of breadsticks. You've got the parents all have a meeting where presume it's Skinner's house, where they're all raising their concerns, and Homer's concern is, of course, where are the refreshments? And then all the plot with Bart and Lisa uncovering the secret about the toy. And I rewatched it now, having watched it the first time 10, 15 years ago. And I find it even funnier because Funzo is basically what Baby Yoda is now. You create that toy, everyone sees it being advertised, and it just blows everyone's minds. I don't think people are actually, breaking into shops to get Baby Yoda. Well, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, not yet, anyway.
Not yet.
Not yet.
No.
Not
I mean,
yet.
that's the one thing that The Simpsons is renowned for, is like predicting the future, isn't it? There's so many memes where they had something 20 years ago that happened. I mean, Donald Trump going down the stairs in his red tie and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, I probably would have seen this one, but I can't remember this one. So it's one I'm going to definitely have to look back on. Yeah, but I'll get there because season 11. It'll
Just
take
another
a while.
couple of years. It'll
take
there.
a while, but I'll get there. Good one to kick us off with. Go on then, Neil. You're number 10.
So mine's quite an old one from series 5, episode 15. It's Deep Space Homer, where Homer becomes the astronaut. It's got a load of movie reference, from The Right Stuff to a bit of space to, Space Odyssey and things like that. So, I really like this one, and Homer's the star of it, and I just find it's got real belly laughs. It's got my favorite bit with Homer and the phone, where he's dialing Marge because he's so scared to go there, but he doesn't stop dialing while he's talking to her, and she's always telling him, Homer, you've dialed the number. And he keeps running away from it. It's got so many moments as well. The escape of the crisps, and he floats around to eat them. That's a classic scene that's used loads.
Smashes into the ants.
That's it. And then the ant
protect the queen. I am the queen. No, you're not.
Kent Brockman, and the ant comes straight to the camera, and he's terrified they've been taken over. All praise the ant lords and all that. So it's got loads and loads of great moments. But I always say The Simpsons really kicked off into consistency. I mean, the great first couple of series was series 3, is when every episode became just pure genius. And this was when they got really on their roll, right up to about 8 or 9, series 8 or 9. Yeah, it's a great episode.
There's an amazing bit where it's Homer against Barney, and Barney's, I think he's won the battle of the two of them, but then he gets off his head again on the wine, and the guy's like, well, "This was alcohol-free wine." Like,
yeah, that's it. Yeah,
that is a good
classic
one.
Barney.
Yeah, I love it when Homer's like circling that chip, isn't he? He's going.
Yeah, well, that's the 2001
round.
reference, isn't it?
So good.
Such a good episode.
Okay, I'm going to go for number 10. I'm going to go for Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Series 2, episode 15. This was the first appearance from Danny DeVito as Homer's. Was he brother or
long lost brother?
Long lost brother. Yeah. Herb, who's a very successful car manufacturer. I love the start where it's another McBain episode, movie or whatever it is. Meeting adjourned. I love all those kind of little moments that McBain has. And now I don't know if when you were kids you would find any excuse to be able to swear in front of your parents, but I love the fact Bart says that Homer's a bastard, or that Herb was a bastard, and just keeps saying that in front of Homer and Marge. And then is Grandpa Simpson's, the line that I love more than anything else was, "She would do things your mother would never do, like have sex for money." That was such a great line. And then he gets Homer to design a car that absolutely ruins him. It is a two-parter, because I can't remember what season the follow-up bit is where Herb ends up making all the money. I think it's Maggie's.
It's where he makes the baby talker,
isn't it?
machine.
Yeah, the baby talker machine. But yeah, so that's my number 10. Okay, Doug, your number 9 then, please.
Okay, Series 5, Episode 11, Homer the Vigilante. I think this one is as good as example any for, showing the absolute worst of the people living in the town of Springfield. Okay, I mean, they all get robbed, which is sad and frustrating, and Homer sort of launches his campaign to try and help get Lisa's saxophone back. But they just turn out to be bullies. They just go around basically terrorizing the town. He has that amazing interview with Kent Brockman where he basically admits that they are committing crimes themselves. And Kent's just like, touche. And it's another one. It's just full of some of my favorite lines, full of belly laughs. And what also I really like, Malloy, who is the burglar. Spoiler. I'm afraid we're doing spoilers, aren't we? We're gonna have to.
Yeah, for something that's like 30 odd years old. Don't worry.
And Malloy, I think, is voiced by Sam Neill. I mean, he is the villain, but he's also he's just taking the piss. He's much cleverer than every single character, apart from like maybe Lisa and maybe Marge. And it's just literally like he's playing around with the citizens of Springfield. And even when he eventually gets caught by Grandpa, he then finds it so easy to get away. And it's and I think probably favorite moment in that is when he uses the sausages to distract Santa's little helper, and then again I think he uses them to distract Homer as well. Just little things like that. Sometimes you'll both have seen it, and you'll be 4 or 5 seconds into an episode of The Simpsons, and they've already made like 3 jokes. It's like, how do you write that?
Yeah,
so good.
Is that the one where is it the cat burglar? That one,
The cat burglar, yeah. And he steals a big diamond while Homer's like, he's meant to be guarding the museum, and then he spots some teenagers drinking without a license, and it's like, teenagers, they don't get a license to drink. They can't drink. And maybe Homer is giving out licenses, creating his own laws or something. But
it was Sam Neill. Sam Neill, yeah. Considered it to be a high point of his career recording this episode.
I could imagine.
Yeah,
could imagine.
Excellent.
Yeah, he's not done much else, has he?
No, he hasn't. No. Go on then, Neil. You're number 9.
So this is Marge versus the Monorail, Series 4, Episode 12. I didn't know whether anyone else would have this, but this is
my number 5.
Is it? It's got a great musical number in this one. When the Simpsons on their great
masterpiece,
musical numbers, they do them really well. It's just so funny, isn't it? All of it, all the way through. The way that Marge is trying to stop it, and everybody's so swayed because they've sung a song, and away they go. And Homer being the pilot,
and in that scene, where Marge makes the point about, I think it's Main Street, at the start of it, they've got the Silence of the Lambs reference with Mr. Burns in the straight jacket and the
mask,
yeah. And I mean, I've got in my notes, it's an episode where, they get conned into voting for something that they shouldn't. And I've written metaphor for Brexit. 3 years in the making.
The difference was that their vote there was 100%, whereas Brexit was 52 to 48.
Indeed,
There was a slight anomaly there. Yeah, this was my number 12.
Yeah.
It's the mayor says something like, just tell us what it is and we'll vote for it because we're twice as clever as Shelbyville.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then what are we going to do with our $2 million? And then Lisa's there saying, I thought it was $3 million. Oh yeah, you may be right there. So
I forgot on that bit.
Yeah. There's so many good bits. I watched this one today because it was the one that nearly crept into my top 10. Leonard Nimoy as well.
Oh yeah. Well, he appears a few times, doesn't he?
It starts with the Flintstones parody.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's so good. It's so good. Yeah, very, very close to making my top 10, but not quite. Okay, my number 9 is one that probably should be a bit higher, actually, but The Last Exit to Springfield, which is all about the dental plan. It's all about the dental plan for the Homer's work getting cancelled. So when Lisa goes to the dentist and they show her the mock-up of this is what your mouth is going to look like in 1 year's time, in 5 years' time, when like her teeth are protruding through the top of her head, and so Homer ends up trying to fight for the dental plan. When Lisa ends up getting like these horrible braces put in, there's a parody of the Joker, like in Batman, the Michael
with the
Keaton
mirror,
Batman with the mirror, and she, give me the mirror, and she starts laughing. Then there's a whole, she's on some kind of drugs, isn't she? And there's a whole Yellow Submarine Beatles dream sort of sequence, and oh God help us, when the Yellow Submarine crashes into the thing and starts falling down. What else we got? Oh, I don't go in for that backdoor shenanigans. There's something that Homer says to, because he's trying to negotiate with Mr. Burns, and Mr. Burns is saying things, you know, you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours, and he's going, oh my God, is he coming on to me? And I love that moment. And it's that I say that to people. I'll say I'm not going in for any of that backdoor shenanigans. And it was only when I watched it I realized, oh my God, that's where I got it from. That's where I borrowed that saying from. So, oh, the 1,000 monkeys. That's right. He's got Mr. Burns has got 1,000 monkeys. It was the best of times. It was the blurst of times.
Wait, where is that from? What series is it?
That is series 4, episode 17. So it was another one of the early ones, but such a good one. I'm surprised it's not on anyone else's top 10. I must admit.
I'd forgotten about it, to be honest.
I need to go back.
Yeah, because
That's
obviously
the first one of the night where I've been like, oh crap, what am I doing? Where was that? So
yeah, I did double check because I thought, oh, hang on, but yeah. Obviously, Mr. Burns is where I got the famous "ahoy hoy" from.
Ahoy hoy, indeed, because that's what he says on at the monorail.
That's it.
When he comes into the thing, ahoy hoy, yeah,
yeah, that's where I got it from.
Oh dear,
always made me laugh.
Classic stuff. Go on then, Doug. You're number 8.
Okay, right, stacking. On the rail away. Number 8. So my number 8 is Dog of Death, series 3, episode 19. This is the one where Springfield gets obsessed with the idea of winning the lottery. They don't. Well, Kent Brockman ends up winning it, and Homer can't believe that he hasn't. But they've got a bigger problem because Santa's little helper is really poorly. He has a twisted stomach.
Oh yeah,
and has an expensive operation to fix it. And then the family sort of fall out with him, and I've read a few reviews of this where people, for that reason, they really don't like it. They can't believe that the family falls out with the dog. And I think what it is, I've never had a dog in my life. So maybe, I think if I had, I'd probably find it really traumatic. But as I never did, all I can do is just watch the episode and just find it really, really funny. I think it's as good a Homer episode as ever. You know, he's imagining what he'll do if/when he wins. And he imagines himself like 20 feet tall and made of gold. And like walking into Burns' office and saying, like, take a hike, boss, I'm running things now. And the Santa's little helper like goes on a journey, and you've got the Peter and the Wolf soundtrack going on. And it's a really nice story about Bart and his dog as well. I think I just always managed to overlook the slightly horrible bit when the family are mean to the dog, and I think otherwise it's just genius.
I was looking at on IMDb. It's got that scene where they do the pastiche of Clockwork Orange as well, with the drops in its eyes.
That's
looking
right.
at the dog abuse. Yeah, that's one thing I love about The Simpsons is the fact that they always tap into like pop culture stuff that you know. So like you said about The Shining and stuff. There's always little bits in there. There'll be slight little bits that you recognise from something else. I'm going to need to rewatch that one as well, because I'm going to say that about every episode. I don't know why I'm even saying that.
Well, you're on a course, aren't you? You're on a course of Simpsons.
Yes, it's going to be intravenously
we'll get there.
fed, I think. Go on then, Neil, you're number 8.
So this is Trash of the Titans, Series 9, Episode 22, when Homer, this has got Steve Martin in actually, when Homer decides that he's going to take over from the local councillor and organise the trash when he keeps missing it. It's got featuring U2 in it, who were doing a concert where Homer gate crashes it. It's also got a couple of the famous lines of where a fork gets thrown over in the end credits and Mr. Burns calls wankers, which I always love that. where they get away with it. Oh, they actually do cut it on when they show it at 6 o'clock on Channel 4, but it's on Disney Plus that he still calls them wankers.
I hadn't noticed on Disney Plus. I have to watch that again.
Yeah, no, it's still there. It's because obviously the U2 do it, and I think it's Larry the drummer calls, or Adam calls the Edge a wanker, and then Mr. Burns.
Oh yeah, yeah.
In the plane, they're playing around, and the fork comes over, and he just says wankers, which always really makes me laugh.
Now you've mentioned it, I think I watched that episode as a kid and thought it was okay to say wankers, and my mum told me otherwise. So there we are.
Well, it's not a swear word really in America, is it? No. It's not really recognised as so, but obviously in the good old Blighty, it's a fun one.
And they do a parody of Candyman from Willy Wonka, but it's Garbage Man. Is it that?
That's it. That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. When he's campaigning to become the new leader of the council, and obviously he just spends all the budget on rubbish. And Bono telling everybody to listen. This man's talking about our rubbish.
It was the 200th episode as well.
Was it?
It was, and dedicated to Paul McCartney's wife, Linda McCartney, who passed away due to breast cancer.
I didn't realise. I've forgotten that bit. Yeah. But,
no, it's nice. You know, that's going to be my 21. That's number 21 for me. It's not.
Oh right.
It's not. Yeah. It's. I just forgot to write it down. I do love it though. Yeah.
Yeah. Steve Martin's very straight in it, isn't he? He plays his character very straight, obviously.
Oh, does he? I'm gonna have to.
Yeah,
I'll have to remind myself.
Yeah, now that you've reminded me of all that, it's like it's shot all the way back up. What am I doing? Never mind.
Fair enough, though. Okay, so that's what was that? Series 9, episode 22. Mine's going back to see season 5 for my number 8, and it's Bart Gets Famous. So they go to a box factory for a was it a school trip, I think?
Yeah, not the box factory again.
Yeah, the box factory, and Bart decides he's going to play hooky and just go to the studios that's just over the way, and ends up becoming Krusty's PA basically. And then he ends up getting on stage, and the whole scenery goes everywhere, and he goes, "I didn't do it," and becomes the "I didn't do it" kid, and becomes famous to the point when he's all ready for his like a show of his own kind of thing, says the line, and it's just flat and dead because his time is over, and
he's finished, isn't he?
Krusty finished, says, yeah. And Krusty basically just kicks him out of the studio. But I love the moment when they tell Homer that he's disappeared, that Bart's disappeared, and then his hat's on the top of a box. And he's going, "My boy's a box."
Damn you!
Takes the box home and tries to break the news to the rest of the family. So yeah, but yeah, it's the "I didn't do it" thing, and then the fact that it's showing you that I mean, it always reminds me of things like Little Britain, where Little Britain was just a show full of catchphrases, wasn't it? That's basically what it was, and it's amazing how catchphrases can catch on, and then can also become really old hat, really no pun intended when it comes to hats, but it can just as quick, people can love a really good catchphrase, but they can also think, "Oh God, I never want to hear that again."
No.
So it's
they revisit that whole sort of idea. I can't remember what series it is. It's not that late. When Homer gets really good at bowling, I think it's like out of stress, he gets like 10 strikes or something.
Oh yeah.
And he goes through a phase of being really famous because of his bowling. And then he doesn't understand why no one's interested in that anymore. Like, you know, and his family trying to tell him, that, people, they've appreciated you, but, they've moved on now, and he just doesn't get it.
That's weird, because there's another episode isn't there an episode where he becomes the person that has a cannonball fired into his
Yeah,
Duck.
that's right. And he goes around with the Smashing Pumpkins on tour to all these festivals.
Yeah, and doesn't
And
that
then-
in the end it gets to a point where he becomes like this massive star, and then all of a sudden people just aren't interested
Well,
in.
no, he's a massive star and he's got a big performance. And the doctor says to him, "Look, literally, if you take one more hit with the cannonball, you're going to die."
Oh right,
And he still wants to do it, and then he's about to do it, and he sees Marge in the audience, and then
right.
thinks and
There
stops.
you go.
And
There you go.
but with the bowling one, what you were talking
Yeah.
about, it's got one of my favorite laughs of Homer. Is the way he shuffles up to take his actual, bowl, his little
Yeah.
feet, the way they move. Honestly, I just can't stop laughing. But there we
So
are.
good.
You should
So
see me trying to bowl.
good.
You just the same. I'll come and watch if you do that little foot shuffle that he does.
Yeah, I went on a stag do recently, and we decided to go bowling, and it's put me off for life. It's not for me.
Fair enough.
Where
Okay
are we?
then. Doug, you're number 7, please.
Right, number 7 is series 6, episode 4, Itchy and Scratchy Land. Now this one I feel like could almost have been like a segment of a Treehouse of Horror episode. If you sort of take away, well, a hell of a lot of it, and just have it as a story where they're at Itchy and Scratchy Land having a bit of a good time, and then the robots go AWOL, or go rogue rather, then you've got a Treehouse of Horror. But I do wonder if that was sort of coined as an idea for that, and then they maybe realised actually there's a whole story here. It's a meme goldmine. It's got he's in the souvenir shop, and there's no sign that says Bart, but there was a Bort, and there's the little boy who's called Bort, and there's another guy around there called Bort. And there's actually a massive Simpsons Facebook group called Bort posting. So I think it's definitely iconic. And the other great line is when Lisa wheels Bart on a wheelbarrow into the bedroom, and she's like, "Bart's dead serious about going to Itchy and Scratchy Land." Again, it's been memed and parodied so much. And then the parody wise itself, obviously it's a parody of Disneyland. There's a really good Fantasia sketch as they're going in. It's a bit of a nod to Jurassic Park. And there's even a little mention of Hitchcock, The Birds, as well, which is really clever. So loads of that going on. And ultimately, it's the simple idea that Marge just wants a holiday that isn't going to be riddled with embarrassment. And of course, Homer and Bart screw it up as badly as they probably could.
It's also a big parody of Westworld, isn't it? The movie Westworld, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where they went for as well. But yeah, it's a good one with the flash of the photography.
That's right.
Yeah,
because they're like the only family left on the land, because everyone's abandoned them because Bart and Homer have been like attacking them. They've not attacked the robots, have they? They've attacked all the poor guys who are just dressed in the Itchy and Scratchy costumes. Must be absolutely boiling. And because I think it turns out Homer's been arrested for exactly the same thing. We just don't see it happen.
I just saw on IMDb, it says, at the time that the episode was produced, new, more stringent censorship laws had been put in place. As a result, the Fox network tried to stop the writers from including Itchy and Scratchy cartoons in episodes. In response, the writers created this episode, which they decided would be as violent as possible.
There we go.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Fair
The
play.
violentest place on earth.
Exactly. Go on then, Neil, you're number 7.
Mr. Plow.
Oh, that's my number 7.
Oh, is it?
That's my number 7.
That's my number 3.
Is
It's
it?
such a funny episode, this one. Just from Homer getting the wagon to the rescue to the competition with Barney. There's so much to talk about in this one. So many different bits and obviously Homer's little sing-along, Mr. Plow.
Yes.
Which a friend of mine at work, that was his phone call. When his phone rang, that's what came up. But yeah, I think it's a great episode, this one. It hasn't aged at all.
I'd say it's quintessential Simpsons. It's like right up there. And there's I actually had it on DVD. I think it's maybe even the first DVD I ever got, but it was a Christmas compilation, which bothers me because it's not a Christmas episode. It's just got snow in it, like Homer the Heretic's got snow in it, but nothing to do with Christmas. but I mean, it's not obviously Christmassy, but it's genius. And you got the Linda Ronstadt cameo,
Yeah,
and she's doing the Spanish version
that's
of
right.
the Plough King, and it's beautiful.
It is.
It sounds really, really good. And Barney's just not remotely bothered. He's punching well above his weight. He's just like,
Exactly.
no, yeah, you do you.
She's got an amazing voice. She's got such a beautiful voice. I've obviously Adam West in it as well. He's saying,
Oh,
why
yeah, of
doesn't
course.
anybody do the bad 2C? And he's going, hoo, ha, he, hoo, and Homer just says, just don't have eye contact. Just walk away. Just walk
Just
away.
back away.
Yeah, they're so
There's a
good.
scene at the school where Homer's like plowed the school so that they can actually go in, and all the bullies like Nelson and everyone, they pelt Bart with snowballs. And I read that is a parody of The Godfather, when Sonny gets butchered basically
Yeah.
at the
Yeah,
Toll booth.
shot at the toll
yeah,
booth.
the toll
Yeah.
booth. Yeah. So I must have seen that episode 10, 15 times before making that, because it was when you watch it, like when you're a kid, it's one of those things. It's just funny watching him get pelted.
Yeah.
And then like you see another layer to it, and just like it just it just adds another layer. It's genius.
Those DVDs, Doug, were they the same as what they did on the VHS, where they put about 4 episodes on one?
It
thing?
was,
yeah, they did it on the VHS as well. Mr. Plough was on there. It might have been the same thing, but yeah, they kept releasing them, money-making ones, weren't they? But they're always like the top episodes. So it might, I don't know, it might be you got the Christmas ones and the Treehouse of Horror ones, and that.
Yeah,
I think I've still got a couple upstairs.
I've got the box sets for I think something like 2 to 7, 2 to 8. I never bought them. I always found them too expensive to buy from like HMV or something. But I'd always just get lucky, find them in CAX or in a charity shop. And I remember I'd bought whatever the newest one, 7 or 8 is, and then we went into lockdown, and the entire thing was on Disney Plus. I was like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
I've worked hard for this.
Yeah, I've got every DVD box set up to 18, and then they stopped making them and started them again on Blu-ray, only to stop it again because they put them on Disney.
Yeah.
I mean, because they would cost more than 2 or 3 months Disney Plus subscription, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Or you can always go and sell them at Music Magpie or something like that for like 20p each, mate. I mean, you get some of your money back, wouldn't you?
They're worth keeping.
Oh no, it's an ornament, I've decided.
Yeah.
And also they come so well. I mean, they were really good at the beginning until they decided to put the DVDs in the sleeve.
Yeah.
Which scratched the DVDs. But they came with booklets, artwork.
I got the first 7 or 8 of those as well.
And you've got to keep them because there's stuff in there that you probably never see the light of again, which is and loads of makings of and everything. So brilliant.
Yeah, they're the kind of cases like they're almost sort of memorabilia, not just it's the plastic box that it comes in.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, they're here to stay. I've had this argument with my girlfriend many a time. But my shelf of DVDs isn't going anywhere.
No.
Nor should it. Nor should it. I'm with you.
So it'll be the new vinyl one day.
Yeah,
I don't know. Would it though?
I noticed people are selling VHS again, and people are buying VHS again.
Yeah, I bought a VHS player the other day for $5. You know, like I don't mind paying that. I've got the only version of Star Wars, the old ones that I've got that hasn't been remastered, is a cassette.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can even. Well, you probably can get the originals, but I'm gonna stick with my VHS.
Yeah. No, and lightly. And I've got a box full of VHS that I just can't throw out because they're special editions.
Porn, Neil. Because it's porn, isn't it? That's why.
Well, no, I've upgraded now. I'm
Big
on the
Jugs
old
3. You're not going to get much for that on Music Magpie, are you?
40 and above.
See, I just made a name up. You had that one because you know that there's one called 40 and above.
Always remembered that one in the shop. Always remember because I always wanted to see whether they were as big as it looked.
When you mean 40 and above, do you mean that's the age or that's the size of the boots?
I don't know because every time they always going back to people that don't remember the glam rags and everything, the naughty rags. They always stack them so you could only just see the lady, couldn't you? They were never on full.
I don't know. I never used to look at those videos. So I don't know.
Of course you did. I bet you got your mates to go and buy you one. That's what you used to do.
I used to go and buy go and rent another video and one of those and put that one underneath the video that I'd rent. So you would never know. That's what I would do. Yeah.
Oh, it's
Anyway.
just taking a turn.
Yeah, the Simpsons porn.
Yes, I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can see things
I'm
like that.
sure
But we're
you
not.
can.
Let's not go down that route. Doug, you're number 6, please.
Oh yeah, so we all
Yeah. We're
had
doing a podcast, mate. Yeah.
I know. Just say we all had Mr. Cloud, didn't we? Yeah,
We
yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my
Forgot
number
that you had
7.
it as well.
Yeah.
No, of course we all did. It's a masterpiece. Right, number 6.
Yes.
Am I on number 6?
You
Excellent.
are number 6. Yeah.
Series 7. That's why I got confused. Series 7, episode 4. Bart sells his soul. I had 2 episodes in mind where I think in the same season where Bart makes a poor decision, and it's theme of the episode. So it was between this and Marge Be Not Proud, the one where Bart gets caught shoplifting. I went for this one because, as well as that whole brilliant storyline, it's got the Uncle Moe's storyline running alongside it. I think the story of Bart selling his soul to Millhouse is a prick, isn't he? You know, it's a pretty dark one. It just gets worse and worse. You know, like when Marge gives him a cuddle, he doesn't feel anything. He doesn't find itchy and scratchy funny. And the worst, when he goes to the Quickie Mart and the automatic door doesn't work because he doesn't have a soul. And when all through my life, whenever I've gone to somewhere with an automatic door, I worry that it's not going to open and that I won't. I'll realize then that I don't have a soul, especially on trains, because there is actually a button that you have to press. I'm like, fine, it's not automatic. Oh, I do have a soul. Jolly good. But
Is that
alongside it, I think
I was just going to quickly ask: is that the episode where he buys the dinosaur, or he's got the dinosaur and wets it up, and he thinks it's going to be massive, and it just
that's
dribbles?
right.
That's the one,
And
isn't
it just yeah. When he imagines it like gobbling Lisa up.
Yeah.
And then Lisa ultimately comes to his rescue. And the whole Uncle Moe's thing on the side is just so funny. He's like, he gets like an industrial fat fryer, and he's like, you could deep fry a buffalo in 40 seconds. Homer's like, 40 seconds, I want it now. Just like little bits like and working hospitality as well myself. Mo says a line about how, you know, people don't drink like they used to, and I'm finding out at the moment, post COVID, people are looking after themselves better. It's terrible. What's going on? So yeah, those 2 alongside, it's a pretty perfect episode for me.
Yeah, that is a good one. That is a good one. I'm gonna have to. Oh, I'm not gonna say it again. I'm gonna have to.
You say it. You say it.
I can, because I'm gonna do it anyway. But I don't know what I'm gonna do for the Patreon video playlist. I'm gonna have to see if there are clips, because I can't put the whole episodes. I'm sure the whole episodes aren't gonna be up on YouTube.
There might be some of them.
Some of them might be, but I'll try and put as much clips of each episode that we mention up on the video playlist. Neil, you're number 6, please.
So it's The Last Temptation of Homer. This is the one with this series 5, episode 9. It's the one with Michelle Pfeiffer and joins the nuclear plant and works alongside Homer, and Homer does everything but starts to find himself attracted to her, and then they get sent both together off to a hotel to do an expo. And that's where he gets really questioned on his loyalty to Marge, where he so much so he hears the vacuum cleaner going down the hall that sounds exactly like Marge. It's a really sweet episode. You know, it shows Homer's love for Marge as well, but it's also bloody funny in places. And it's also I think it's the one where Bart becomes the nerd as well. So he has to wear the thick glasses, he gets the spray in the throat, and then has to wear the high platform shoes to correct his walking. And then obviously finds out where the secret nerd room is and everything like that. So you got those 2 running alongside each other. But yeah, it's
I've got mixed up. I get all mixed up with. Now I know it's Colonel Homer, where he is
Lurleen.
Lurleen. Yeah. No, yeah, get those confused. But yeah, the Last Temptation is great. He feels so bad for Marge.
Yes. So is it that episode, or is it Colonel Homer, where Homer says, "No, like, we're gonna have to have sex now"?
That's that one.
Yeah,
that's
where he gets
Last
really
Temptation of Homer.
Yeah, she asks him what's wrong. We're gonna have sex.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just funny. And Michelle Pfeiffer voices that so well. Yeah,
absolutely. Which is funny you should say, Doug, because my number 6 It's Colonel Homer.
There we go.
There you go. Series 3, episode 20, where Homer becomes basically Colonel Tom Parker. But it all stems from Marge having a go at him in the cinema and making him feel like stupid. So he when he gets home, he throws everybody out of the car. It's on the drive home is great because Bart draws like a pair of eyes and a nose on the back of his the back of his head, and is taking the piss out of him that way. But Marge has a go at him, so he decides to go off, and then he sees Lurleen singing in a bar. Beverly D'Angelo from Vacation Movies is the one that did the voice, and he becomes her manager, and she buys him a suit, and obviously Marge gets very irate and very jealous. And when they're in
this, I think I know what you're going to say. Yeah,
they're in the studio, and like the engineer is saying, like, all I can hear this on the track. There's this grinding noise, and it's Marge with her teeth because she's so jealous. But that was the thing because Lurleen falls in love with Homer. But I'm pretty sure that was I thought there was a point where it got to the point that Homer says, "No, we're gonna have to have sex," but that was obviously the last temptation of Homer.
But also he meets Lurleen again, doesn't he? She reappears later on again
in Monorail.
Monorail, yeah. But she spent the night in the ditch, didn't she? So she's obviously not having a good time. But yeah,
I mean, she sings. It's dead funny when she sings a song that's basically saying "bunk with me tonight," and Homer's like, yeah, and even after she's finished, she's still sort of saying, "There was a hidden message." Homer's like, "What? Don't." Like,
yeah, he goes, "Oh, that was really hot," when he said someone would have to be dead not to get the message of that. Bye, and then no one goes. Bunk with me tonight. Okay. We haven't done the thing. Right, let's have a quick go at see if we can get any. Right, Doug, you're going to go first. I'm going to spin the wheel. Let's see if we can get anybody. You should be able to hear it.
I can embarrass myself here.
Mr. Burns. Mr. Burns. You only got to do that.
Okay.
Go on then.
Excellent.
Yay! Very good.
Well done.
Oh, wrong one. I was going to.
That's all you needed to do.
Do you know? Now that I've said it, I've thought of so many more of my favourite lines. But I'll quit while I'm ahead.
Yeah.
I'll give you a round of applause for that one. Right, ready, Neil?
Yeah.
Here we go. Who's it going to be?
It's going to be hard, isn't it?
Marge.
Oh, me! That'll do.
Very good.
Yeah.
Bart.
Ay, caramba!
Nailed it.
Although I did think he sounded like a little Mexican.
That was a little bit. Okay, we've done that. Now it's time for this.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
It's quiz time. It's quiz time, everybody. Right. First one to 3, Doug. As you're the guest, you can go first or you can go second. What would you like to do?
I'll go first. Why not?
You're going to go first. Okay, here we go. What is Marge's maiden name?
Bouvier.
Correct. Neil.
Excellent.
Which Prime Minister welcomed the Simpsons to the UK?
Oh, wow. Funny you should say that. But Tony Blair.
Is correct. Well done. Number 2, for you, Doug. What is Lisa Simpson's IQ?
159.
Wow. Very impressive. Very impressive. Neil, you're number 2. What is the Simpsons' pet cat's name?
Snowball. Oh.
So, Doug, for the win. Doug?
I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready. Can you hear me?
Well, no, you need to answer this one. What is the name of the Simpsons' pet cat?
Oh, right. I thought you were going to give me a different question.
No, you got to see if you can.
Oh, right. Okay. It's Snowball 2.
Win for Doug. He's on fire. The man is on.
Lisa's IQ. I watched that quite recently.
Oh, did you? I was going to say that is
impressive. That is jammy as fuck. If you'd asked me a question of that level from another episode, I'd have just panicked. That
was very impressive. So just go through the last couple. What color is the Simpsons' iconic sofa? Either of you?
Well, don't ask me.
Oh yeah, Neil, you're colourblind, don't you? So I forgot.
That'd have been a good question, wouldn't it?
It's, I guess it's just, is it brown or maroon? Or
It's
claret?
orange.
Oh, orange.
Orange.
Yeah, you see.
Apparently so.
I've looked at it 100 times recently, but it's unobservant.
What is Marge's pet name for Homer?
Homie.
Neil, you got this.
Homie is Homie. Homie. Who is Robert Underdunk Terwilliger better known as?
Sideshow Bob.
It is.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And how many times has Krusty the Clown been married?
Oh, no idea.
3.
Don't have a guess, Doug?
4.
15. He's been married
Oh,
15. 15 times.
Where do we find that?
It was on the internet, so it has to be true. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
He probably has, if you think about all the children he Sosei has had and
Yeah.
everything like that. So
Exactly. Right, before we crack on,
Right.
let's do one more of these.
Oh dear.
Oh, dear. Oh, that's
M.R. Burns.
That's no good. M.R. Burns, that's no good, because you already had an M.R. Burns.
Oh, I mean, I had another one.
Oh, here we go. It's the big one. Oh,
Krusty the Clown.
go on then, Doug.
Oh God. Oh fucking hell.
I don't remember him saying that.
No.
We'll be wait. Okay. We'll be with you in a minute, kids. This could be our ticket out of here, Mel.
There we go.
Hey.
Very good. Very good.
Marge.
You had Marge last
I
time, didn't you?
did.
Oh,
Bizarre,
Christ's
isn't it?
sake. What's going on? Oh,
M.R. Burns.
M.R. Burns. Come on then, Neil. M.R. Burns.
Release the hounds.
Who have I got?
Grandpa Simpson.
Oh yeah.
That's a
I
hard one.
don't know. What's the line that you said? What's the...
That dog's got my teeth.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Oh, fail.
bollocks. Let's get on with the quiz. I failed that. Terribly with that.
It has reminded me, the episode I mentioned earlier, Dog of Death. There's an amazing line when Mr. Burns, he's in like, I don't know what he's doing. He's just lying in a glass tank, like Boba Fett, and he's just lying there relaxing. And Smithers is like, "There's a sweet little boy at the door. Release the hounds." Like,
That's it.
Oh dear. Okay, so at number 5, Doug, you said Marge versus the monorail. So Neil, what's your number 5?
Well, funny you should say who's the Prime Minister of England when they did that episode. It's the Regina Monologues, the one where they go to England and meet Tony Blair and have their escapades all round London and see things. There's a lot seen in there. It's Sir Ian McKellen's in it, isn't he? I believe.
What series was that?
no way.
That was series 15, episode 4. But it also contains the lines, something along the line is, I've watched Giggs dribble round somebody else when he's watching the football, and makes it quite sexual.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, which is worth finding out. I can't remember the exact line. I don't want to do it the disservice that I would, but it's great for us seeing the Simpsons, Simpsonify London and other bits. It's a funny episode. If people haven't watched it, I really enjoy it, and there's loads of laugh out loud moments.
So it was actually Tony Blair that did the voice.
It's actually Tony Blair that did the voice.
My goodness me.
I think as far as like celebrity cameos in The Simpsons, like getting the animation of the character right, I think the Tony Blair is got to be one of the best. It's accurate enough because he's obviously got quite a distinctive facial features, and it's just really, he looks really funny as well.
He does. He does.
I did one of my pub quizzes. That was the picture around like celebrity cameos in The Simpsons, and some of them you just like that. I think like the Kim Basinger one, you're like, okay, that could be anyone, really.
Yeah,
you're right.
Whereas that can only be Tony Blair. That one.
Yeah, and J.K. Rowling is also.
Oh yeah, of course she is. Yeah, she appeared in that. Yeah.
I need to watch that one then, because I haven't seen. I can't ever remember seeing that one with Tony Blair in it. But there you go.
It made. I mean, obviously, it made the news over here quite majorly.
It?
Yeah, because it was the first time any sort of politician had done something of that ilk.
Right.
And I don't think they have since. Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, they visited Britain more recently with Olivia Colman. Was that last season or 2 seasons ago?
Oh yeah,
It was while she was in The Crown. It's got a big sort of Brexit reference. Groundskeeper Willie's kind of the star of the show, or being one of the
That's
few
right.
like British characters.
Yeah.
And then to me, I was like, this is mental because that's just Sophie from Peep Show. That's not
Right. Yeah.
She
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
she can't be in The Simpsons. Or it's the woman from Hot Fuzz, the police officer. But yeah, I mean, she's huge now, isn't she?
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, and now being seen in Secret Invasion, eh?
That's right.
She is, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. She's everywhere. My number 5, one of the classic episodes, but it's a 2-parter. Who Shot Mr. Burns? I can remember watching that. I mean, it was at the height. It definitely parodied all those things like Who Shot JR and things like that. And I only watched it again yesterday, and so good how it holds up. And it holds up as a whodunit. It was so cleverly done.
Can I check? Are you just doing part 1 and 2 together?
I am doing part 1 and 2 together.
Okay. Well, so my number 4 is I'd chosen Who Shot Mr. Burns part 1. I mean, I love them both, so I'm just going to add them together. So we can say that's my number 4.
Okay. I was going to say you can't have one without the other.
No, I was going to. They're obviously the end of one season and the start of the next season, but watching them together, it's great because it's very, very clever. I mean, Mr. Burns is his most evil.
Yeah,
and doesn't care about it so
Give
much
me
so
that candy.
Yes, it's like taking candy from a baby.
Yes,
yeah. They are. They're sublime. I mean, I've put in my notes. You know, they're equal terms. It was more like if I had to choose one of them. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Refreshments.
If I had to choose one of them, then it's part 1 just because it sets everything up. But like you're both right, together, it's probably as big as The Simpsons had got so far. You know, at the time, everyone was talking about it.
Is there celebrity cameos in that one? Because I can't seem to remember. I mean, obviously, they go back to it, don't they? In one of the highlights, or they talk about it, and Lisa says about Maggie shooting Mr. Burns. Spoiler.
Yeah.
And Homer goes, I thought Smithers did it or something.
Yeah.
And
no.
Lisa goes.
The 138th episode spectacular showed like a different ending.
That's
where
right.
it was Smithers that shot him.
And Lisa goes, well, that would have made more sense.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Well, they wanted Barney to do it, or some of the producers did, because they were going to send him away and bring him back in future episodes, future series. Sorry, that was also coined as an idea. But I mean, I'm so glad they did it the way they did. And I was thinking maybe there's not a celebrity cameo just because it's part of the joke is it's everyone in Springfield, the characters that we all know. Everyone's a suspect, like Marge says. So you probably don't necessarily need one. And I've got written down my favorite bit, but I've lost it. Oh yeah, no, it's when he. It's quite early in the first part when he visits Springfield School disguised as a student.
Yeah.
And Skinner's like, I don't have an intercom or a secretary. But he comes in dressed as Jimbo, and his opening line is, "Ahoy there, Dean." Just best Burns.
Tito Puente was the cameo.
Oh yeah. Oh, and that song that he produces is a banger as well.
Yeah.
The Burns.
That's it.
That's right.
And you can see Chief Wiggum, and they're like nodding their heads. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Right, Neil, you're number 4.
Okay, we talked about everybody appearing. 22 short films about Springfield, Series 7, Episode 21. Now, this is a clever trope. It's obviously based on a film. I think it's called 33 Stories about Carlo or something. I can't remember. But it's parodied from Pulp Fiction. It's got parodies of everything in this one, where everybody's story overlaps. So each main character gets a 5-minute little segment, and it overlaps into the next one. So you got Bart and Milhouse on their adventures and so on. I mean, there's too many to mention, but it all streams so seamlessly. It almost feels like a different episode to The Simpsons. It's a little bit on the formula of the way they've written it and that, but it's still got the amazing laughs and everything. And do you two remember this one?
I do remember.
I do.
Yeah.
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 And there's
Yeah.
you mentioned Pulp Fiction. I think is there a scene in like an old school American diner, like a bit like the beginning?
Well, it's got
Is
the
it that
car
one?
as well, and
Yeah.
the scene with the car where he runs over Butch, doesn't he, when he sees him? I can't remember which character it is now off the top of my head. I'll have to watch it again.
And is there the kidnap scene? There's a kidnap scene where Kirk Van Houten walks in
That's
and
right.
sees them and he shouldn't. Is it that? Because it's like I say, there's so much going on.
Yeah, there's so much going on. I believe that is the episode. It's definitely got the car crash, when he runs somebody over.
Yeah.
And bits like that. But yeah, it just involves pretty much all of the Simpsons characters, which is always great to see. And I always say it's something they missed on the movie. The movie's funny and it makes me laugh and it's got some good moments in, but it completely missed all the other characters out, which I miss them in the film. And so this is sort of like a highlight for me. I know it came out before the film, did it? I think so. But yeah,
It would have done. Yeah, I mean, isn't the film have you might no? Is it post series 10? It
I can't
I
honestly
actually don't
remember,
know.
Doug. Yeah, I can't remember. It's about 2007, 2008. The movie came out. I'm pretty sure.
It says on
toyed with-
IMDb that the episode was based on Pulp Fiction, is what they're saying it was. But
Yeah.
that's because I think there was couple of the strands of storyline were definitely sort of lifted.
Oh yeah,
straight
they
from
do.
Pulp
They
Fiction,
do. They
weren't
link straight into another.
Yeah.
And it's a clever episode. How long does it go on for? Because it does feel like a longer episode in that one as well.
I think that one is 30 minutes. I think.
Yeah, because they bring
22 minutes.
Is that all?
Yeah.
But
That's
it brings
bonkers.
everybody in, which is so good to see. You get to see them all pretty much. Yeah, it's a good episode.
That's sensational writing, isn't it? It's 20,
Yeah.
22 stories in 22 minutes. Presumably, it was one of the shorter versions of the opening credits. Then
I would imagine so.
Gotta be, yeah.
Unless that was one of the stories.
I mean, you mentioned it's there. I mean, I do love the film. I even thought, can I justify putting the film as an episode? But I didn't because it's its own thing. But I mean, yeah, seeing that in the cinema was just unreal.
Yeah, we've spoke about it many times.
Indeed.
That they were brave with it, which is good.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to see because apparently they've been commissioned to do a second movie now, haven't they?
Well,
So
why so soon?
yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, that's
As long as it goes to the cinema, not just straight onto Disney Plus. They're making a Chicken Run too, but it's not going to be in the cinema. And there's so much shite in the cinema that makes it there, but not the sequel to Chicken Run. I'm fuming. Get very angry about this, guys.
no Mel Gibson though in this one, is it?
Who's doing the voice this time?
I don't remember who's replaced him. I know, but Julie Swallow. I don't know that's how you say her name.
Yeah.
But she's been replaced by Thandie Newton.
Yeah.
And she was told that she sounded too old. And I was thinking, well, for crying out loud, if she's too old to do Ginger, then how are Julie Kavanagh and Dan Castellaneta and so on?
Jane Horrocks is back, isn't she? She's back for that one. Yeah, I find it very strange.
Because if they recast Babs, people just wouldn't go.
Yes,
I think Imelda Staunton is back as Bunty as well. I would hope. I think they've had to recast Fowler because that actor's passed away since.
Yeah.
I
can't remember who's doing it instead of Mel Gibson. I'll have to have a look.
Oh dear, that does worry you, doesn't it? Disney need to stop this. They do need to stop this. I mean, that new Full Monty series. I haven't watched it, but I've spoken to people that have, who were fans of the movie, and said, "Don't bother going there. They've changed all the ethos of what the Full Monty was about."
Zachary Levi.
Okay, yeah.
Zachary Levi, who was
what's his name? Shazam.
Shazam, yeah. He's playing Rocky.
Okay.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
My number 4. I have actually already mentioned this episode on a previous I can't remember which top 10 it was. But it's And Maggie Makes 3, season 6, episode 30.
Yeah.
Where Homer just has his final paycheck and he's out of debt. He's got no worries. He goes and plays Mr. Burns' head like a bongo and quits his job and goes and works in a bowling alley. Then has a night of passion with Marge. and that's where Maggie comes along and ruins his life, basically. But when they ask where all the pictures are, they're at work, because it's what's the motivational plaque? Is it something like,
Is it like remember you're here
yeah,
forever?
don't forget you're here forever?
Don't
I
forget
think
you're
what
here
it is,
forever.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so he puts the pictures in a certain way that it says "do it for her," and I think that's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I think it might have been the greatest TV episodes I think they ever did, something
Yeah,
like
I
that.
think it might have been.
So
Yeah.
in that theory, it should be my number one, but it's not. So I've ballsed all that up. But anyway, that's basically what the episode is, and it's so sweet and it's so funny, and the way that he just totally like sort of beats Mr. Burns up is just so funny, and he keeps like hitting his bald head.
Bongo in his
I think he
bald
said, "I
head.
was so angry that I just was frozen with rage that I couldn't do anything about it." Yeah.
He's still sort of almost in denial because the news has been leaked that Marge is pregnant again, and he's just people are sort of trying to tell him. I think maybe like Chief Wiggum and Apu like sort of say congratulations,
That's
and
right.
he thinks they're talking about him being good at bowling. Is
Yeah.
it like?
That's right.
Yeah.
And again, it's another one where he's just so oblivious, and it's
Yeah.
just it hurts my
so
ribs.
good. Yeah, they
It's
give
so
him
funny.
a lovely like jacket, like bowling jacket, to say thank you for his hard work. And as he goes back to the nuclear power station, the acid rain just melts it off his shoulders.
That's right.
When he has to go back and beg for his job, he's not allowed to go through the door. He's got to go through this little cubby hole that he has to go on his hands and knees to beg Mr. Burns back for his job. Oh, so sad, but it's such a sweet episode at the end. It's like a lot of the Simpsons episodes; they always come round in the end to being that he's a sweet family man and they love each other and they'll do anything for each other, which is sort of the point, I suppose. Okay, Doug, Mr. Plow was your number 3. So Neil, what's your number 3?
Flaming Moe's. Series
Hey.
3, episode 10. It's an absolute banger, this one. Homer obviously divulges his secret drink that he concocted with cough syrup and called it a Flaming Homer. Moe steals it and becomes an instant success. I believe it's got is it Aerosmith in it, isn't it?
It's Aerosmith, yeah.
That's it, who appear. And obviously Moe cuts Homer right out of it, and Homer becomes almost like the Phantom of the Opera in there. And it all goes tits up. But it's hilarious. The whole episode is hilarious, and I don't know what else to say about it, really, that it is a born classic.
I've only just thought about it now, having talked about Mr. Plow earlier. There's, probably a few episodes where Homer really does get done over by all his friends from the bar. Moe is awful. In this episode, Barney is awful to him in Mr. Plow. And it does sort of go full circle when he does the big reveal that the ingredient's cough syrup, and he's acting like a supervillain. He's got this crazy laugh. He's turning into a bit of a maniac.
Well, he's up in the rafters of the roof, isn't he?
That's it. Yeah.
With the cloak. That's why I said like Phantom of the Opera. It was just so funny. But yeah.
I really liked as well how Bart. It's like a show and tell at school, and Bart's hero is Homer, and he tells everyone. And everyone's sort of taking the piss out of him, saying, "What? It's not a flaming Homer; it's a flaming Moe." And I just love how naive Bart is, because he would have known by then that the idea had been nicked, and he was adamant that he was just going to go in and tell everyone about his own dad. I remember thinking that was really nice.
Yeah,
felt like even the teacher's not on his side. Well, she's a bit of a bitch, isn't she?
She doesn't like Bart.
No.
Oh, bless. Okay, so that was your number 3, Neil.
That was.
Yes. My number 3, Series 2, Episode 2, Simpson and Delilah. This is the Demoxenil episode where Homer manages to get some amazing hair treatment oil for $1,000 that he claims off of his company or work insurance. Excuse me, and wakes up with a wonderful if only it was true, I'd pay $1,000 for that. A wonderful head of hair, which makes him this go-getting executive, where he gets given the key to the executive toilet, gets this personal assistant called Carl, played by Harvey Firestein. What a voice that man has. Oh my God. I was watching that episode with headphones on, and I was getting shivers down my spine whenever he was talking. It was so good. But it's not I noticed that series 2, episode 2 is not quite the Homer voice that we know and love. It's still not quite.
Was it still series 1 Homer voice?
Yeah,
Was
it was still so a little, not quite the full Walter Matthau kind of voice. But as an episode, it is just so funny, and the fact that that Bart decides that he wants to try and take the last little bit of Demoxenil and like put it over his chin so that he's going to look older to all of his mates, and drops it on the floor, and then all of a sudden Homer's losing all his hair, and
there's a really, really good visual, isn't there, of the hair just like having all disappeared and it's on the floor. You know what's coming.
He's got one little puddle left, and he's just trying to dip his head into the last little puddle because he hasn't got $1,000 left. And then ends up just going back to his old ways. But another one with a really sweet end to it. But I feel Homer's pain when it comes to that. I really do. Okay, then, Doug, you're number 2.
My number 2, sort of spoiled the plot at the very top of the episode, is Series 6, Episode 6, Treehouse of Horror, number 5. It's my favourite Treehouse of Horror. Not by miles, but it's definitely is my number 1. I think we probably should get away with doing an episode where we list the top 10 Treehouse of Horror segments. So not episode, but obviously that's like split into 3. I think all 3 of these are perfect. So the shinning, where to even start is so funny. I remember the sketch where he goes crazy in front of Marge when I was little. That was hilarious. Then years later, watched The Shining, and then seeing like the scene in the bar with Mo and the scene in the snow and everything. It's just so clever. It's my favorite parody. And then I won't talk too much about each one because it's a 3-parter. Then you've got Time and Punishment.
Is that the one with the toaster? Is it
with his hands trapped in a toaster and he accidentally turns it into a time machine? And there's a cameo of Sherman and Peabody, which leads into the inevitable Kang and Kodo cameo. There's also a cameo from James Earl Jones. Maggie turns into James Earl Jones, but I mean, why not?
Of course.
And of course, again, Homer loves to eat sausages. He's escaping the world that's run by Ned Flanders, and he's being chased by the dogs. No, Ned has released the hounds, should we say? And he finds these wieners, but instead of throwing them to the dogs, he eats them, and they give him the quick energy to get away from them. And then, so the first 2 segments are really, really Homer heavy, but then the last one, it's told from Bart and Lisa's point of view. It's the nightmare cafeteria where the teachers eating the kids basically because detention's overcrowded prison, as it were. Millhouse gets his comeuppance. I mentioned it sort of. I think Millhouse is a bellend, so that's good. And then Uta disappears, which is a running joke in later episodes, you might remember. And then just to top it off, they do that dance at the end where they turn inside out, and that just from
that's right.
The first minute to the last, it's so funny. And yeah, it wasn't always going to be this high up my list, but I think you might have found the same thing. I rewatched it's the ones that I've rewatched more recently.
Yeah,
that are definitely top end.
What number was it? Treehouse again?
It's the 5th one. So there's one every series apart from the first
series.
The first ever one was series 2. I think maybe like episode 2 or episode 3, quite early.
That could
it's Treehouse of Horror V.
In future, we could do the top 10 Treehouse of Horror stories, couldn't we? Without a doubt, because there are so many good ones.
Yeah,
around Halloween.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Idea. We'll pencil you in, Doug. We'll pencil you in.
I'm trying to pretend, sit here smugly on the camera like I haven't been thinking about that the entire time. I've been planning this podcast. Excellent.
Okay, then Neil, you're number 2.
So it's another movie parody. It's Cape Fear, Series 5, Episode 2. Sideshow Bob hunts down Bart. Die, Bart, die. And it's all
the
and it's Sideshow Bob, but it also has probably one of the funniest things, which they brought back even recently, is the rakes on the floor, which I think is one of the funniest moments ever in The Simpsons, because they weren't shy about coming away from it. You know, they let it just keep going and playing that joke, just constantly.
Yeah.
It's just hilarious. But also, you've got Homer, who's the prick in the cinema, rather than Sideshow Bob from the Cape Fear bit. He's the one laughing obnoxiously. But yeah, it's a great parody and hilarious.
Apparently, they recorded Kelsey Grammer doing the rake thing. I really can't do justice to
No,
the
it's
sound
just
that he
genius.
makes, but just the once, and then they just kept looping it. Like, it's just so perfect, isn't it?
And it is, and the length. I just love the length of it because it just keeps going.
It sort of it stops being funny and then starts being funny again.
It just, honestly, I could watch that moment over and over. It's one of those moments. Very, very.
I actually read a bit where that bit that you just said about, Doug, and they were saying that. I mean, obviously, comedy is that rule of 3, isn't it? That you have to like do it 3 times. But I think it was the producer said that they wanted it to go on so long that it was funny, then it was not funny anymore, and then because it was going on so long, it became even funnier.
Yeah.
It just gets ridiculous, because you almost get sick of it, and then actually you're like, no, this is
it's genius.
Exactly. It's absolute genius. Absolute genius. I don't know what I'm trying to do here. Oh, my iPad has decided to fuck about.
Oh, no.
Okay, my number 2. That's what I was going to do. Hang on. There you go.
There you go.
There we are.
We'll sit here for 10 minutes while you do it.
I'm kind of sad that I didn't get that in the impressions challenge.
Is that? Yeah, I know. Yeah, I to be fair, I thought about it, and I should have put that as one of the stings for the 10 facts. Okay, my number 2 is King Size Homer from Series 7, Episode 7. If not just for the moo moo, that's one thing. Again, I can sort of feel his pain in regards to how easy it is. The one thing is, though, I mean, I looked at it and I thought he had to get to 300 pounds, didn't he? And then it was that moment when he was just struggling. And I think, wasn't it, he had some Play-Doh or something?
There's the Play-Doh, but he also had his belly hanging on.
And there's the fact that he just got to 300, and then Bart went, Dad, your belly's hanging on the towel rack, and all of a sudden he was 315. And it's the fact that right at the end, like I think, isn't it? Mr. Burns is sort of trying to put him through some kind of way to lose weight. I'll just get you the surgery. Woohoo!
And the indignation of when he's not allowed in the cinema.
Yeah. Oh dear. Again, I can feel his pain.
Did either of you ever play Simpsons Hit and Run?
A long time ago.
Yeah. Because I mean, I played it sort of when it came out, but then when we knew we were going into lockdown, the first time I bought a GameCube on eBay for like 30 quid or something, and bought Simpsons Hit and Run for 35 quid. It just shows kind of how much people value and respect the game, that it costs more than the bloody, console. And I think, if I remember rightly, one of the characters you can unlock is King Size Homer.
Oh, is it? Right.
I think because I think it's like you can go to the Quickie Mart, and like they've all got the different outfits. You've got Bartman, got Lisa in like a jazz musical things, and I'm pretty sure you can unlock Homer in his big dress.
That's a great thing.
Brilliant. I mean that game. Like, I wanted to give that game a shout out because it's just phenomenal. It's so
been
good.
a long time ago since I had a go on that.
Yeah.
But it's also he's the hero, isn't he? At the end of that, he saves the nuclear meltdown.
He does because of his size.
When he's being spoken to and presented the award, you keep hearing his little giggle. Because they're spraying him, aren't they, from inside?
That's right. Oh my god. Okay, before we reveal our number ones, before we release the hounds, Doug, give us your rundown from 10 to 2, please. Neil will do the same, and then I'll do the same.
Oakley dokley do.
Nice. Nice.
In 10th place, Grift of the Magi, a pronunciation I needed to Google. 9th, Homer the Vigilante. 8th, Dog of Death. 7th, Itchy and Scratchy Land. 6th, Bart Sells His Soul. 5th, Marge versus the Monorail. Fourth, Who Shot Mr. Burns? I'm upgrading this to part 1 and part 2.
That's
Thank
fair
you,
enough.
Pad. Third, I Missed a Plow. Second, Treehouse of Horror 5.
Wonderful. Neil?
So I've got Deep Space Homer, Series 5, Episode 15. Number 9, Marge versus the Monorail, Series 4, Episode 12. Number 8, Trash of the Titans, Series 9, Episode 22. Number 7, Mr. Plow, Series 4, Episode 9. Number 6, The Last Temptation of Homer, Series 5, Episode 9. Number 5, The Regina Monologue, Series 15, Episode 4. Number 4, 22 short films about Springfield, Series 7, Episode 21. Number 3, Flaming Moe's, Series 3, Episode 10. And number 2, Cape Fear, Series 5, Episode 2.
Thank you. And mine is number 10, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? 9, Last Exit to Springfield. 8, Bart Gets Famous. 7, Name Again is Mr. Plow. The name again is Mr. Plow. Mr. Plow. Number 7. Number 6, Colonel Homer. 5, Who Shot Mr. Burns, Parts 1 and 2. 4, And Maggie Makes 3. 3, Simpson and Delilah. And 2, King Size Homer. So, Doug, what is your number 1 Simpsons episode?
Well, I had to keep my mouth shut just now. It is Cape Fear.
That's
Series
my
5,
number
episode
1. That's
Yeah.
and I really thought we were going to have a full house, and then Neil had to ruin it with number 2. No, yeah, that's
Well,
my number 1 as well.
Yeah,
But I mean, not to worry, because I mean, there's so much to say, isn't there?
there's loads in that episode.
I mean, I've got. I mean, the bit that makes me laugh the most, maybe even more than the rake sketch, is when they're changing the identity, and he's like,
Oh,
"From
yeah.
now on, your name will be Homer Thompson." Hello, Mr. Thompson. Like,
That's
just
right.
that again. We're going again. I keep saying about oblivious Homer. Like, it just makes me like absolutely die. It's so funny.
Yeah.
To the extent he's like, when I say hello, Mr. Thompson, and stamp on your foot, you nod. Like,
I think he's speaking to you.
exactly.
And I think Kelsey Grammer's just got a fantastic voice.
Yeah.
He does the whole like HMS Pinafore as well, and when he's in, he does that whole die Bart die, and it's the Bart the, and then
That's
someone
it.
in the jury goes, well, someone who talks German can't be all that bad.
Yeah.
So I think that's just so good. But
The jury are well on his side, aren't they?
yeah, yeah.
Like, is it Selma says, like he tried to kill me on our honeymoon, and he's like, how many people are thinking of killing her right now?
Yeah.
That's right.
But for me, number 1 is that's it. That's all it's for. That would be number 1. Just all of that. You can have 22 minutes of just that, and I would find that. I'm sure on YouTube there must be just that for 20
But
minutes.
I also love the fact that when he has come back in later series, they put a rake in,
Yes.
which makes me laugh.
Yeah.
It's always a callback to him and those rakes.
Yeah, it's so good. But yeah,
And
go on, Dave.
go on, yeah.
No, go on.
Well, it's just to throw in more cultural references, he stays in a Bates Motel.
That's right.
At Terror Lakes, a Psycho reference. Flanders scares Bart with wearing his spiky glove things.
Oh, the hedge
It's
cutters.
the
Nightmare on Elm Street, yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street, and even the Itchy and Scratchy episode that Bart doesn't find funny because he's quite scared is there's a Goldfinger reference as well. It's the laser from Goldfinger.
Yes.
And then, but on top of that, you've got all the Cape Fear stuff, which again, when I first saw this, never seen Cape Fear. But the bit like the Leave Town sketch, it just on its own, without any kind of film parody context, was still just incredibly funny. Just the way they did it, and then again another layer. I now understand.
I was reading in the facts that actually in the original Cape Fear with Robert Mitchum, he stayed in the Bates Motel in the movie.
Oh, did he? Oh, I didn't realise that.
When he was beating some person up. I didn't realise that. So there you go.
Because that's 62. The original,
possibly.
And Psycho is 60. Yeah, wow.
I just used it. It would have been on
checks
Universal
out, yeah.
lot or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on then, Neil. Put us out of misery. What's your number 1?
The Springfield Files. I love this episode. This is one that I've watched more than any other. But obviously, a parody of the X-Files, and it's just Homer coming home late one night, and he
What
gets
season's
spooked out.
this?
This is season 8, episode 10. Homer coming late home from the pub or bar, drunk, and he sees a glowing alien. No one believes him. Obviously, Mulder and Scully turn up, and Marge thinks they come to get her for stealing the pens from the shop. It's got everything in. Leonard Nimoy leading the sing song where they all go to see him, and obviously it turns out to be Mr. Burns, but it's all through it. It's the bit when they're testing Homer. So first of all, they make him run,
Yes.
and he's still running. And he says, "Hasn't he run enough?" And she says, "No, it's hypnotic, like watching a lava lamp." You've got the bit where he gets drunk, where he's recreating where he was the night, and he's sat with Mulder and Scully. He's getting more and more drunk, and then he sort of flirts with Scully, and then he gets really upset because he says he's married, and then all of a sudden just goes, "Ooh, Penny," and falls off all those little lovely Homerisms. And it just ends with the great sing song where they're all singing the song from Hair, Age of Aquarius and all of that. And
he like runs through a wheat field.
That's it.
Like Theresa May, and he runs through the wheat field, and it spells. Is it like "ya" or
no?
Like,
it's "dough."
Is it "dough"?
Yeah, and he's got the exclamation mark, which he actually
jumps to do the exclamation mark. Yeah,
and that's where the line where Grandpa makes him jump when he's walking home, and all these spooky things are happening. But obviously, you first get the bus go past with the orchestra doing the scary music. Grandpa comes out lost and then says, "That dog stole my teeth," and it was a turtle running away with his teeth in. All of those, and it's just full of them, absolutely full of them. But it's opened by Leonard Nimoy and closed. He's like the narrator, isn't he? The Springfield Files.
That bus you just mentioned, they're playing the Psycho song.
That's right.
They?
Of course they are. The Psycho theme. Yeah. Genius. Yeah, and that's my most watched episode. That one, I just love it to pieces.
Great. Okay, we've got some honourable mentions here. Kirsten Prynne, our guest from last week. Hello, Kirsten. Simpsons Treehouse of Horror 5, where Homer turns the toaster into a time machine. The teachers are eating the students in school, and there is a parody of The Shining, of course. Rick Tyndall says, so many. Flaming Moe's, Homer at the Bat, Homer's Barbershop Quartet, Bart After Dark, A Millhouse Divided, Simpson Califragilistic XP, Annoying Grunt Josius, or whatever it is, The Springfield Files, and The City of New York versus Homer Simpson, and so many more. At Garth German, or Garth German, I'm not sure which one it is, The Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie Show. It's just a perfect meta-commentary and has so many great quotable lines. I adore Tress MacNeille's delivery of "No, they only paid me to say it once, and then they doubled it up on the soundtrack. Cheap bastards." And possibly my most used Simpsons quote, "That's why you're still kids, 'cause you're stupid." It's astounding that episode, a reaction to claims that The Simpsons was old news, was in Season 8, 26 years ago, and the show just keeps refreshing and renewing itself, especially with more out-of-the-box episodes the past few years. Bravo, Team Simpsons. At Zippy Arkle said Mr. Plow. At Andy McCurn 1 said A Star is Burns. Sure, that's the name. Football in the groin. Remember that one. At Red Leader 2022, Last Exit to Springfield. At Music Kid 269 said Who Shot Mr. Burns Part 1 and 2. At Graham Edgler, it's changed over the years, but I'm going to say Last Exit to Springfield. And finally, we have a top 10 here from the one and only Mike Price, who is an ex-writer and executive producer on The Simpsons. So, hello, Mike. He's given us number 10, E Pluribus Wiggum, which is my favourite of the ones I've written, says Mike. Number 9, A Serious Flanders, both parts. I've watched that one yesterday, and it is really good. It's from like season 30 maybe, or 31. Very, very good. Number 8, Who Shot Mr. Burns, both parts. Number 7, Lisa the Boy Scout, this past season. 6, Marge versus the Monorail. 5, E-I-E-I Annoyed Grunt, the one with Tomako. Number 4, The Seemingly Never-Ending Story. 3, The 90s Show. 2, The Cartridge Family. And number 1, The Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie Show. So there you go. Thank you very much, Mike, someone who's working on The Simpsons. and has done for years. So thank you very much, Mike. He's going to come on the podcast in a couple of weeks' time. So thank you very much for that. That's it. We've done it, Doug.
Wow.
We've done it.
Smashed it. I can't. You had me, and you could have had a guy who's actually people. This guy is actually written on The Simpsons. Years.
Yeah,
thank
he's
you. I feel honoured.
executive producer. He's written episodes. But no, Doug. We wanted. I mean, but his name is Mike Price. It's not Doug Simpson, is it? I mean,
Yeah.
Exactly.
you are some long lost half brother, sister, or whatever of one of the members. So
That's you can do
Well,
a
it'd have to be
podcast with
Homer,
him
wouldn't
about Vincent Price films or something.
we're going to do Monty Python things with
Oh,
with Mike
brilliant.
Price. So
Oh yeah.
Spoiler alert.
spoiler alert, spoiler alert. But yes, no.
I thought it was going to be The Price is Right, the best
we
episodes
could have
of.
done that. We could have done that. So Doug, thank you so much for joining us. It's been like old times.
It has. Thanks so much for having me, guys. Been a blast. I've spent the last 2 months just watching The Simpsons. I need to catch up on The Last of Us and so much. But yeah,
Well,
thank you guys. It's so nice to be
I
back.
assume you'll come and join us again.
Love to. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
So-
if we can do a spooky episode in the autumn on The Simpsons,
If you're happy to do that, we can do that. The
something
Treehouse
like
of Horror
that.
ones.
Or
we can find something completely different.
Yeah. I think the disadvantage to do that is I've kind of already spoiled what my top 3 would be.
That is true.
Exactly.
So
That
yeah,
is true.
I might go back to the drawing board, but yeah, definitely love to come back, and I'll keep listening.
Well, we
More
thank
than
you very
welcome.
much for your support, as you are a top head. So thank you so much for your support, mate. Because as I've
Pleasure.
said last week, you genuinely keep our lights on. So thank you so much. And if anybody else
My
out there
pleasure.
wants to be a top head and wants to be a guest on a podcast just like Doug, Neil, tell them how they can do it and
Well,
get in
of
touch with us
course.
with all that gubbins.
Of course you can be a top head like that. All you need to do is go to patreon.com/top10pods. There are all sorts of levels and rewards to get. And like we said, you can even be a guest like Doug here. So do please come join the fun. And we thank you so much to everybody that has done it. You can find us on all the social media at Top10Pods. Give us a click, give us a like, give us a follow. You can email us at top10pods@hotmail.com, where you can ask us anything you like. Even give us suggestions for top 10s. And then check out all the links via the Linktree. You can find the link in the show notes. And please come subscribe, review, and leave a rating wherever you get your podcast from. Thank you.
Perfectly done. Doug, once again, thank you so much, mate. Can't wait to have you back.
Thanks so much, guys. Been brilliant. Lovely to see you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Neil.
Thank you very much, Doug. It's been an absolute pleasure to see you. It's been far too long. And thank you very much, Pav.
Thank you very much, everybody, for listening and watching. And let's go start the countdown.
10,